Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be doing the no disclaimers book tag video. I really want to get to some tags. I've been tagged recently and I think 3 different tags and I haven't gotten to any of them, and if I don't start getting to them now I don't think I ever will. So I was tagged to do this particular tag by Roxanne of A Novel Sanctuary, and I'll have her channel linked down below. I'll also link down below the original creator of the tag. I have my phone in front of me, so I'm just going to be looking down to read some of the questions. So the first question is, which trope or tropes in books annoy you the most? And for me, that would be insta-love. I think it's kind of a cop-out. I feel like if you're going to have some sort of love story, then you should take the time to build the relationship and give us a real love story rather than just kind of jumping ahead to, oh, we're in love now. I think it's kind of lazy writing as well, which that's always a huge pet peeve of mine when it comes to just books in general. The second question is, which writer or writers do you feel are overrated or overhyped? And for this question, I started to put down some authors on my list here, but I realized that I had only read 1 book by each author, and so I don't think that's really fair. I think, you know, if I would have read several books by them and I hated them all, then yes, I would probably have an author for this. But since, you know, usually when I don't like an author, I don't pick up any more of their books. So, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to be answering this question. I think I'm going to pass. And if by any chance I decide to read another book by this author, then I'll talk about whether I think they're overrated or not. So number 3 is, what are your least favorite books you've read since joining Booktube? And for this one, I chose Talking to Ourselves by Andres Naumann, The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, and The Vegetarian by Han Kang. So those were just the 3 books that I mean, I wouldn't say they were like my least favorite because some of those are well written. I was just either my expectations were higher or I expected something and I didn't really get it in terms of story or plot or characters, or I was just disappointed by the book. So I would rather say that than least favorite. Question number 4 is a terrible ending that ruined an otherwise quality book. And for this one, I picked Daughter of Fortune by Isabel Allende. This was a buddy read that I did with Stephanie from That's What She Read, and we really enjoyed the beginning of this book. We really enjoyed the character of Eliza, which was the main character. We thought she was really unique, and we thought that the story would be really interesting. And then somewhere towards the middle of the book, or I would say the last third of the book, Allende just completely lost us. We pretty much felt like it was a whole different book, and the ending just wasn't satisfying. It wasn't an ending that left you feeling like the story had been wrapped up and that, you know, things made sense. So it was a huge disappointment. Number 5 is, which fictional character or characters do you wish were not killed off? And so for this, I'm going to talk about The Fireman by Joe Hill. So if you have not read that book and you don't want to be spoiled, then just stop watching now and just jump ahead in like 10 seconds or so, because I'm going to say it really quickly, but I'm just going to give you a little spoiler alert there. But for me, from The Fireman, the one death that just really hurt me was the death of John, the fireman. So I really was just devastated when he died. I had loved his character up to that point, and I kind of understand why he died, but I felt like I could see a future with him and some other characters in the book, and so it was just completely heartbreaking. I'm still not over it. Number 6 is, what are some of your bookish pet peeves? Well, I've already talked about lazy writing or authors who kind of use cop-outs in their stories, but I also wrote here buying a book full price and hating it, because that's just, it's almost like a betrayal to me, which is why it's so hard for me to buy books that I haven't read previously, and I kind of do a lot of research before I buy a book because of that. Or I'll buy a book either at bargain price or half off or at a used bookstore. I also put in here complete personality changes halfway through the story. So this just goes again back to lazy writing, where an author has created a character, shaped the character, given it a bunch of traits, and then halfway through the story, the character has completely changed personalities and is a whole different person because the story needs it. And so I feel like if you're just going to do that halfway through the book, then you should have just created that character from the beginning. Does that make sense? I think that I'm just really being nitpicky at this point, but those are pet peeves of mine. Number 7 is, what are some books you feel should have more recognition? I put down 2. I put Frenchman's Creek by Daphne du Maurier. I know that she's popular here on Booktube in terms, like when it comes to Rebecca and sometimes My Cousin Rachel, although I don't hear about that one that much, and you definitely should read it. But I recently read Frenchman's Creek and I really enjoyed it. I was completely surprised in a good way at how good it was. And I was just like, why haven't I heard of this book before? You hear about Rebecca, you hear about My Cousin Rachel, but I've never heard about Frenchman's Creek before I read that book. And I think more people should read it. I also put down here Deep Down Dark by Hector Tobal. And this was basically a nonfiction book about the 33 men that survived the Chilean mine disaster back in, I think, 2013, where the mine collapsed and all 33 men were trapped. And I read that last year as well, and I absolutely loved it. I thought it was really well done. The audiobook was excellent, and I feel like more people should definitely read that book. And then who do you tag? I have to really look at people's channels to see who has done this tag or hasn't done this tag yet. So I'll list some people down in the description box, and then I'll probably do a tweet and then tag those people so that they know that they're tagged. So yes, those are all of the questions. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Roxanne for tagging me in this tag. I thought it was a lot of fun and I love some of these questions. I'll see you guys in my next video.